Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the hearing apparatus, and we're going to look into the interpretations of Weber's and Rinne's tests, which are tests to detect the kind of hearing loss. Now, I'm going to start with the hearing apparatus. So, this is your tympanic membrane. These are your ossicles, and this is the oval window. This is the scala uh, tympani, right? Yeah, scala tympani and scala vestibule, and this is scala media, which has the endolymph. So what happens when your sound waves come and hit your tympanic membrane is it gets transmitted here. It hits the oval window. It causes the vibrations to go through uh, the perilymph of the scala media and scala tympani and scala vestibuli. This gets translated into the cochlea. What you can see here inside. I'm so sorry for the mess. Clear all. Damn. Do. Give me a sec. Yep. So this gets transmitted to the basilar membrane here, which is the membrane which vibrates, and that is transmitted via the 8th cranial nerve. This is how sound waves translate into neural impulses that goes into hearing, right? So this is the organ of Corti, because there are hair cells. There's the basilar membrane. There are hair cells which, when the basilar membrane moves, they move against a tectorial plate, and that gets transmitted via cranial nerve 8 as sound impulses, right? So now what we're going to do is, okay, one more thing that you need to understand is that the higher frequencies are going to be heard at the base of the cochlea, and the lower frequencies are going to be heard at the apex. So we don't really need the frequencies as of now. This is in introduction to what I will be talking about in my next video, which is about presbyopia and otosclerosis. Those are classic examples of conductive and sensory neural hearing loss. You need to remember this fact for the next video, but now I'm just going to show how the Rinne and the Weber's test are interpreted. So now let's start with Weber, because that's just simpler. So let's say that this is the vertex of your head. This is the cochlea. The cochlea, as you know, is the sensory apparatus for hearing, and then this is the conductive pathway, which consists of the tympanic membrane, the ossicles, and the oval window. Now what happens is, if when the person has normal hearing, if you put the tuning fork on the vertex of the patient, vibrating tuning fork, the sound is going to be heard equally on both sides. Okay, now of course, if there is sensory neural hearing loss, let's say that this is gone, obviously the sound waves are going to be heard better on the normal side, on the contralateral side. Now what happens if, one sec, let me clear this out. I want to talk about what happens when there is conductive hearing loss. So when there is conductive hearing loss, the disturbances from outside are going to be eliminated because the conductive pathway is not conducting any sounds. So what ends up happening is when you put it on the vertex, it's heard better on the side that is actually abnormal, which is like, take this patient for instance, he has right-sided conductive hearing loss, and the vibration of the tuning fork is going to be heard better on the right side because there is a loss of that disturbance. So that's about it for Weber's test. We spoke about both conductive and sensorineural hearing loss. Now I'm going to talk about Rinne's test. So what you need to understand with respect to Rinne's test. So before we do Rinne, I want to go back to the first picture I showed you guys, and I want you to understand that all of the waves, the sound waves that are coming in, let's say they're all coming in, okay, let me change the ink. They're all coming in, they go via this, they go here. So what ends up happening is, can you see that the the tympanic membrane has a lot larger area than the oval window. Like the oval window is really tiny, whereas the tympanic membrane is really large. So it's at least like 30 times larger than the oval window. So what's happening is a lot of sound waves are getting transmitted and getting concentrated in a small area. So it's really amplifying it for you to be able to hear that, right? So that's what you need to understand for Rinne's test. It is that the procedure goes like this. First you hold the tuning fork. Give me a color, give me a good color. First you hold the tuning fork here, and then you hold it on the mastoid process. So usually in a normal patient, air conduction is going to be longer than bone conduction. Like they're going to hear the sounds from air conduction for a lot longer than they will hear it on bone conduction. Okay, first you put it on the mastoid. I'm sorry about that, I mixed it up. First you put it on the mastoid. Once the sound from the mastoid is, you stop hearing the sounds from the mastoid, you remove it and you put it in front of the ear, and you will hear it, you'll still be hearing it even after the vibrations have stopped from the mastoid, right? So that is mastoid is bone conduction and this is air conduction. So this is what happens normally. And even in sensory neural hearing loss, because there's nothing as such wrong with the transmission, uh, both of these will exhibit this air conduction more than bone conduction. But what happens when the person has conductive hearing loss is that bone conduction is going to be better, right? And air conduction is going to be not so good, and that effect of the sound waves hitting the tympanic membrane and then concentrating everything onto the oval window is gone, right? So bone conduction is going to be better than air conduction in conductive hearing loss. In both normal and sensory neural hearing loss, we're going to have air conduction more than bone conduction. So this is the basis of the two tests, which is Rinne and Weber. I used to get them mixed up a lot when I first started studying them. But now that I understand how it really works, it's pretty easy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any particular questions regarding this, please put it in the comment section and I will get back to it when I can. And I will see you in a few days. I'm going to follow this up most likely with a video on otosclerosis and presbyopia. Presbycusis, not presbyopia. I'm so sorry. Presbycusis and otosclerosis. So I will see you guys next time. Have a great rest of the day and thank you for watching. I love you all. See ya.